I caught wind of some news about Google Podcasts a little while ago, and it's got me thinking. Google's podcast app, after a 6-year run, is now joining the graveyard of over 290 other products that Google has pulled the plug on in the past decade and a half. But don't get too sad just yet. Google Podcasts isn't disappearing completely. You can still tune in to those random folks passionately debating first dates and splitting the bill on YouTube Music, because that will be the new home of Google Podcasts by September 2024. Google Podcasts had a respectable 5 million downloads under its belt as of September 2023, but in the grand scheme of things, it was just a tiny 3.5% market share, a far cry from Apple and Spotify's 44% and 29% market share respectively. And Google has a habit of retiring or merging services into other platforms. Picasa turned into Google Photos, Google Play Music got swapped for YouTube Music, and Google Nexus was eventually replaced by Google Pixel. It's like a tech recycling program, and it's not exactly a new thing. And here's where it gets juicy. There's a fascinating reason behind all of this, and that's what we're diving in today. So stick around, because we're gonna find out why Google kills its own products and how these decisions help this massive trillion-dollar company sit pretty at the top. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your all-time favorite app that got the axe too soon? All right, let's get into it. Google's got 4 big reasons for pulling the plug on their creations. Number 1 is seeing what sticks. First off, Google has a strategy of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's a bit like a tech brainstorming session. They're always experimenting, prototyping, and tossing different products out there to see what clicks with users. They're not scared of a few duds. Think of it like a lab where they're cooking up all kinds of crazy experiments, hoping to discover the next big thing. One prime example is Google Wave. It arrived with tons of hype, aiming to change how we communicate by mixing instant messaging with real-time document editing and sharing. Think Google Docs before Google Docs. It had the potential, but it was just too complex for users back in 2010, and it fizzled out pretty fast. Another notable experiment was Google Glass, that bold leap into AR/VR territory. I've got a whole video on that if you're curious, by the way. Check it out here and in the description below. Both these products were discontinued, but their tech ended up influencing future products. So even when a product dies, its legacy can live on, sort of. In a nutshell, Google's strategy is like casting a super wide net, trying out all sorts of ideas. They know not everything is going to be successful, but hey, why not take the shot, right? Reason number 2 is because money talks. Google, like any successful business, is driven by profit. Sure, they might seem like tech visionaries out there trying to make all our lives better, but deep down, they're still a profit-oriented corporation, and they make these decisions based on the moolah. So if a product isn't making bank, it's gonna be on the chopping block. Take Google Plus, for example. It was a free open source social network that was launched back in 2011, but got the axe in 2019. It had the potential, but when Google noticed users weren't that into it, and there were privacy and data issues, they pulled the plug. Google Plus wasn't hitting the profit numbers, so it became expandable. Here's another one, Google Reader, a news feed aggregator. It had a good user base, but Google felt it wasn't adding to its profit margin, so it got the boot, leaving its users scrambling for alternatives. These examples drive home the hard fact that, like any corporation, Google has to make strategic choices to maximize profits, and because they're not running a charity, they're running a business. Poor products. Number 3, some products just don't cut it. Not everything Google touches is gold. Some products fall short, whether it's technical issues, low user engagement, or simply not good enough. Take Allo, for instance, an instant messaging app. that bit the dust in 2019. It had the potential, but it couldn't compete with big shots like WhatsApp, Telegram, and iMessage. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Google tends to pull a plug on products that aren't at the top of their game in their respective categories. Allo and Google Podcasts didn't snatch a big enough slice of the pie to warrant further investments. Users didn't flock to them, so Google gave them the boot. Remember Google Wave, the one I mentioned earlier? Well-intentioned but poorly received despite its innovative features. It was just too much for users to handle. It was a cool concept that ended up being a bad product. So sometimes these products just don't measure up, and it's not worth the hassle of keeping them running. And number 4 is Google's size. Google is massive and has got loads of smaller specialized teams. While this setup is efficient, it can also lead to development of similar products by different teams. I mean, you've got a bunch of creative minds under one roof, so this sort of thing happens, right? For instance, Google Hangouts and Google Allo were separate teams' attempts at creating an instant messaging app. When these teams finally merged, one app became obsolete and Google said goodbye to Allo. It shows that internal competition can lead to product casualty. This all highlights that even within the same company, competing teams can sometimes lead to product confusion. So now let's weigh the pros and cons of Google's strategy. On the pro side, innovation and evolution. Google's experimentation and discontinuation approach fuels innovation. They stay nimble and adaptable, making room for new, refined ideas. It's like trimming the garden to allow for fresh growth. Number 2 is resource allocation. By axing underperforming products, Google can redistribute the resources to focus on other ventures with a better shot at success. Bye-bye Google Plus and Google Reader, hello Google Photos and Google News. Number 3 is market relevance. Google's strategy ensures they remain relevant in a rapidly changing tech landscape. They adapt to shifting user habits and market dynamics. The shutdown of Google's URL shortening service reflects a response to changing online trends as users moved to alternatives like Bitly and TinyURL. And number 4 is streamlined offerings. Google's approach simplifies the product lineup, reducing redundancy and making it easier for users to navigate their ecosystem. Merging Google News, Weather, and Google Play Newsstand into Google News created a unified news platform with a cleaner user experience. Number 5, profit maximization. Ultimately, it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Google's dedication to profit ensures long-term sustainability of their services. The closures of Google Plus and Google Reader, despite their popularity with certain user groups, underline that they're all about securing the bag. Now to the cons. Number 1 is user disruption. Killing off Google products can disrupt users who've grown used to the services. Sudden closures like Google Reader and now Google Podcasts can leave users scrambling to find alternatives and moving their data, leading to frustration and inconvenience. Number 2 is missed opportunities. The strategy of discontinuing products might lead to missed opportunities. Some products could even have potential to pivot or evolve in response to changing market demands, but they never get the chance. Number 3 is a fragmented ecosystem. Google's constant product changes can create a fragmented ecosystem with overlapping services and inconsistent user experiences. This can be confusing for users who are unsure which Google service to rely on, especially in the case of messaging apps like Hangout, Allo, Google Chat, etc. And number 4 is the niche user base neglect. Google's strategy can sometimes overlook niche user bases. Products with smaller but fiercely loyal following may get discontinued, leaving these users without a suitable replacement. This was the case with the closure of Google Inbox, a service beloved by passionate user community and often listed as one of Google's most regrettable kills. And number 5 is reputational damage. This might be the most significant negative in Google's strategy. While it's driven by commitment to improving products, it can lead to a poor public perception. It erodes users' trust and confidence in Google as a whole. Users might hesitate to invest time and effort in using new Google services, fearing they might also be discontinued suddenly. The closure of beloved services has tarnished Google's reputation and sometimes can generate unnecessary negative publicity. So in the end, Google's approach has its pros and cons. On the bright side, it shows that Google is always trying new things, pushing the envelope, and challenging the status quo. It keeps the tech competition fierce, and that's great for us, the users. But on the not so bright side, when Google axes a product we've grown to love, it can feel a little bit like getting kicked out of your apartment without warning. So now you're scrambling to find a new place to stay. For Google, the company, I think the benefits of killing off underperforming products often outweigh the downsides. It's that touch of ruthlessness that helps keep Google at the top of their game. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're at it, check out this video I made on Amazon's first and last mobile phone. Until next time.